I'll do a proper video of this eventually, but some people have already asked me about the upgrade to this Smittybilt air compressor. Originally it was using this setup here, which has this like blow-through chuck on it that constantly blows air. So it is fine with this, but when you are pumping up your tires, you've got to run back and forth and flip the switch on and off, and then run back and check the gauge, and then run back and flip it back on, and so on. And if you want to switch to conventional air fittings like these, they come with the Japanese ones, they call them, these Japanese style fittings or whatever. But if you want to have like conventional ones on here, you can switch it, but then you have to find a blow through chuck that will let air pass through when it's not connected to the tire, which is one way to go. But if you have it set up with conventional fittings, it'll just deadhead at the end of the fitting, and then it'll blow the emergency relief valve, whatever you want to call it, constantly, and it sounds like a gunshot every time. And I'm sure it's not designed for that, so it would probably wear out pretty quick, I would imagine. So the workaround I've come up with, and I've seen it on the internet in a few spots, so I'm not really claiming credit for this, but I've gone and got the ARB pressure switch that's the same that they run in the locker. This is my locker compressor here. So this pressure switch, I can put the part number in the description somewhere, works just fine. It's 70, comes on at 70 and shuts off at 100 PSI. So we just plumb that in with this T fitting. It's just a standard 1/4 inch NPT T fitting with that ARB pressure switch, and it's wired in series with the toggle switch, the factory rocker switch. You just unbolt this cover, wire it in series with that, just downstream of that switch, and it seems to work great. So I just set it up now, and I'll do a proper video maybe on the bits and pieces, but yeah, it seems to work just fine. Now you can run conventional air fittings with standard tire chucks, or you can get one of those nice ones, you pull the trigger and then let go, and it'll read the pressure on the gauge, which I'll probably get from ARB. But I can show it to you working. It's essentially just, this is 1/4 inch here, but for whatever reason, this pipe that passes through here is M12 by 1.25. So I have an adapter M12 by 1.25 to 1/4 NPT. And then this is a 1/4 NPT T fitting with the ARB pressure switch, and then just an M style female coupler, which is what I use in my garage. And then I've converted the line that came with the compressor to 3/16 barb to 1/4 NPT, and then threaded on the air fittings there and here. So it's just standard stuff. You can put all your chucks and stuff on it. Then you flip this on, it'll run until it hits 100 PSI, then it'll turn itself off. And then you can, I have an air wand on here, but if you can put your tire chuck on, pump up your tires, or you can pull the trigger on the air wand and it'll kick on. And then kick off when it hits 100, and then back on when it drops to 70. And it seems to work fine when you put it on the tire. It doesn't kick on and off, it just stays running. And then when you take it off the tire, it'll shut off. So far it seems to work. And again, this is the, I don't know if you can read, this is the 2781 Smittybilt, and the compressor seems to work great. I just didn't like having to run back and forth, messing around with the gauge. And then I didn't like this proprietary sort of blow through that's threaded, because you have to thread it onto the tire valve each time, which is, I don't know if I'm just lazy, but it just seemed like an annoying thing, and I didn't like using it. So anything that's not easy to use, I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to leave it and drive home on flat tires because I'm lazy. But so that's just a quick run through. All the parts are really standard. I can put the part number for the pressure switch, but the rest of the stuff you can just get at your hardware store. I think that's all the info. If there's any questions, put them in the comments and I'll try and answer them for you. Thanks.